What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if the Nemesis system could still be in Gotham Knights. Yes, it's a pipe dream. Yes, it's more of a what-if kind of situation than will it actually be in, but I want to talk about kind of both aspects to it. Firstly, I'll do the promotion part of the video, all that stuff, but I do want to explain what the Nemesis system is, because I've talked about it before. In fact, I think last summer, I made a video that actually got like 10, 12, 15,000 views, did really well, talking about the Nemesis system, and the number one kind of thing people were saying in it is, what is it? So I did explain it. I do want to make it clear what it is, though, in case people haven't heard about it, okay? Before I get too far in, make sure, if you guys didn't see, we're getting so close to 50K subscribers, so please make this today that you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Link, as always, is in the description below. All right, so the Nemesis system, for those that don't know, we won't make it too long because I hope people do know it. You should know it because it's an amazing system and a very popular game, at least I thought, but it seems like not too many people, at least that watch these videos, played it in the Middle-earth game. So Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. This is from Monolith, which is also owned by Warner Bros. Now, remember, they have, I believe they won like the trademark or the patent to the Nemesis system, which I don't actually like whatsoever, because now only Warner Bros. Games can use it. Now, that's good for Gotham Knights. That's good for future games in the DC realm, or really anything that they choose to do. But it's a really amazing system that I would like to see other developers and publishers mess with. Could they do their own thing and make their own system? Sure. Do I hope that they do? Absolutely. So this was a system developed in Shadow of Mordor and then eventually kind of refined in Shadow of War, where basically enemies remember you. That's pretty much it. They develop, they grow, they can actually take each other out. So obviously you have all of the different factions of enemies in the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War world, and they can actually take each other out, move up the chain. If they kill you, they'll get like promoted. They'll remember you, like if you fight them but they escape or you die, and then you come back, they will remember that encounter. They'll talk about their other, their fellow brethren, all that stuff. That's what the Nemesis system pretty much boiled down is, okay? I love it. Again, I think you really just need to play the first game. Play Shadow of Mordor. I think you'll completely understand what the game is. So I really love it. I've said before, when this game was just a little rumor online, right? Or I guess not a little rumor, but a huge rumor. I said, like, I'd really love for the Nemesis system to be in the game. Now, the question is, and there's a couple different questions, could it still be in the game? Because they haven't talked about it. They haven't talked about enemies all that much, though, so I guess there's a little window there. And then if it's not in the game, well, what if? What would be the what if situation, right? Like, or I guess what could have been. So, could it still be in the game? Yes, but to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not expecting it whatsoever. Going into the game, I was honestly expecting it. Like, when they announced it, I was like, all right, give me that goddamn Nemesis system, because it's amazing. I mean, think about it in the Batman world. You can do it with kind of street soldiers like the grunts, but you could also do it with the main villains. Imagine just in what we saw them play. Imagine that Mr. Freeze fight. Now, again, it's the way that they've done it. I don't think it will necessarily work, but imagine that Mr. Freeze fight, and then if he beats you and you come back, he remembers that. Or you don't even have to mess with the villains if you don't want to, because maybe because of the quests and because of the boss battles, maybe that would just be way too, like, asking for too much. All right, fine. What if there's people like they're grunts, they're street soldiers, right? What if there's them, and if they beat you, if they knock you out or kill you or whatever that you want to call it, if they do that, they rise up. They eventually become more powerful. They can get like maybe new armor. They can maybe like kind of evolve into like the next kind of level up character. Now they'd still have to look the same, but they could like their face would have to be the same person, but they could have better armor. They could have better weapons. They'd remember you. They could take out each other to kind of for dominance purposes, right? I think it would be amazing. Now, like, saying it, I really want it, but the more I think about it, think about what we saw, think about how the Nemesis system works, at least in Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, unless it is greatly changed for this, there's no way it's in the game, to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like that kind of game. It seems like a game where it's very much, honestly, like the Arkham games, where there are the enemies and you take them out. You can get your, like when they did like the leaked map, or not even leaked, when they did the map basically leading into it, right, for DC fandom, like there very well could be talents that control different sections of the world, which I honestly hope there is. That would be a perfect opportunity, by the way. Again, they remember you if you beat them. Maybe they can come back. That's another thing that can honestly happen. Maybe they can come back. Maybe they beat each other and rise up the ranks. Maybe if they beat you and then you come back, they'll remember that encounter. All that stuff. That would be incredible. But I just don't see them doing that. I don't really think that's their style. I would say like it's too quote-unquote hard. You could say anything in the video game industry, like making it, is hard. So it's kind of unfair to say that. I really want it, but I really don't think it's going to happen. And final reason why I'll say I don't think it's going to happen is because they haven't said anything. I would imagine, just my opinion, I would imagine if it's as because it would be massive. It would be one of the biggest draw-ins to the game. In fact, if you have something like the Nemesis system, I'd argue you'd want to push it, like push that out there in terms of marketing and talk to people about it. You'd want that to be more important than almost the combat itself. Obviously, combat needs to be good. Combat needs to be addicting. Combat needs to feel like it never gets old. All that good stuff, right? That needs to always be in pretty much any game, I would argue. But for a game like this, if a game has a Nemesis system, I think you lead with that. I think you say, okay, look, we're going to do something really cool with the enemies here. We have this amazing combat system, which, amazing is definitely a word you could use. You could use other words. We don't know how the combat's going to end up going. It looks okay. I think to some, it would maybe be definitely not what they want. I think to others, it would be what they want. Definitely up to your opinion. I think you would say stuff like that, but I think you'd probably lead with, this is how characters are going to do stuff, okay? Or this is how these villains are going to kind of react to you. I think they would probably have said that already. And so to me, that's the biggest thing that's kind of signals the red alarm. And then again, you look at what they did during that DC Fandom gameplay, it just doesn't feel like, I think you would have seen it in that gameplay presentation if it was there. So again, it definitely is a what-if situation, a kind of dream situation, but I kind of went over the possibilities. I mean, I think it would be an amazing thing, just in kind of that, I would argue, the Nemesis system, which, by the way, the Nemesis system, the name is because of, the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, so it would maybe need to be changed depending on what game it's being implemented on. But I think the main thing it does is add to the I would argue, like, world building of wherever you are, truly, because you're giving literal grunts, like, again, like I keep calling them street soldiers or grunts, but you're giving people that you would beat up, or like in Shadow of Mordor and War, you would just like kill them, right? You're giving these characters that really you don't care about whatsoever. You literally just take them out as just part of the second-to-second combat of a game. You're giving them personality, and I think that's a really important thing, that as we take that, I always talk about like realism and kind of taking that next step in the gaming industry. That to me is kind of it. Like kind of giving everybody a personality, giving everybody something like that. The Nemesis system, I would say, is a really big first step to that, because you're giving because it doesn't have to just be bosses. In the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, yeah, they start like the starting ones were kind of like the heads of their group, but honestly, a smaller one, like one that you just meet on the street, if they take you out, they're gonna be in the same rank as like what you would consider bosses or like mini bosses. So I think that is incredibly cool that you really give these characters or these villains or these grunts, you give them personality, you give them life, where they remember each other, they can do things, and not just they can do things like we hear about it, but they have consequences. If they do things, they can change because of it. They can get more powerful, they can flat out die. You could have like you could say, oh my god, I have to go through 4 of these massive, enemies to get to my objective. Well, maybe one of them just literally dies in the world, just randomly, and that reflects that, because you don't have to face them anymore. You know what I mean? So I think the world building would be incredible. To move that over to other games, I think is something that needs to happen. Again, that's why I really hate the fact that they kind of got greedy and said, no, it's just ours. It's just going to be Warner Bros. Things. Like, Yeah, like, fine, put in your other games, but then, like, nobody else gets to do it. Assassin's Creed is kind of doing it, by the way. Like, Valhalla has something somewhat similar, but it's nowhere near as in-depth as the Nemesis system, but they're trying. Ubisoft's trying, and hopefully other people try as well. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think the Nemesis system would work here after hearing about it, maybe for the first time or maybe for the 100th time? Do you think it would work? Do you think it's going to be in the game? Let me know. Again, make sure if you haven't already, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, all that good stuff. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Links in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. New video. I try to do a new video now at least once a week. If it's at E3, if it's at DC Fandom, we will absolutely start picking up the pace of these videos, okay? Thank you guys so much for your support. I hope to see you all on the next video.